Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Installment Scott Selections here for Friday, October 21st. Before again today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We had a nice winner with the Clippers -5.5 and -108 on FanDuel. Wasn't easy. Took a loose ball foul 94 feet from the basket for us to cash, and the Clippers made both free throws, won by 6. I'm not going to say we got that lucky, though, because the Clippers really just tried to hand over the cover. They led by 15-plus points in the first half and blew it, led by 15 in the second half and blew it, but held on barely to cover. So, yes, we did get lucky in the final couple seconds, but the Clippers really should have covered because they dominated most of the game. Either way, we'll look for another winner here on Friday. And for today's play today, going back to the NBA, looking at a late-night game between the Nuggets and the Warriors, taking place at around 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And for this one, going to take the defending champion Warriors -5.5 and -110 on BetMGM. Time recording of 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Cover reasons why I like the Warriors -5.5 in this spot. First reason, just to go through the season openers. I know it's a small sample size because it's one game, but the Warriors looked significantly better than the Nuggets, and it really wasn't close. The Warriors beat the Lakers by 14 points in the season opener. I know the Lakers aren't very good, but the Warriors dominated before they got bored in the fourth quarter because they ended up leading by 27 points in the third. And Golden State looks like one of, if not the deepest teams in the league. I think you could argue them or the Clippers. And I think the bench is going to be the real story here because Denver got absolutely smacked by Utah as they lost by 22 points in the season opener. And in that game, Denver allowed Utah to make 16 three-pointers and attempt 31 free throws. Denver also got out-rebounded. A team with Jokic got out-rebounded 43-35. So we know Golden State's a great three-point shooting team. Denver in the first game couldn't cover the three ball, and they also couldn't defend without fouling. I think it's a really bad recipe for Denver's defense against one of the deepest offenses in the league. But to go through the actual box scores of those games for a second, the Warriors, we know how good the bench is. I'll just read it off. You have Kuminga. Green gave them a couple of minutes. Wiseman actually looked really good in his first game in a while. He had 8 points off the bench. DiVincenzo's a pretty good role player. Poole was awful. He was 4 for 15, but we know that he's definitely an elite bench player, favorite Twin Six Man of the Year. Moody, I thought, looked pretty good in limited minutes, but they have a lot of options. You're looking at Denver here, and their bench is really underwhelming. You have, first of all, to go through Denver's bench, I'm going to mention the differential between Denver and Utah's bench for the course of the game. But you had Jeff Green, who's okay, I guess. Bruce Brown, who I think is a pretty good player. And you have Highland. That's basically it. Their backup center is DeAndre Jordan. So that's not exactly a good that's not exactly a good thing if he's your backup center. But that was really the story of the Utah game, because to go through the numbers here, Utah had 4 separate bench players who had at least 12 points. Rudy Gay at 16. Walker Kessler in his first ever game had 12 and 10 off the bench against Jokic. Colin Sexton at 20 points and Malik Beasley at 15. So Denver's bench got absolutely cooked by Utah, and it seemed like the defense was just a step slow the entire night. We know Golden State's not afraid to put Jokic in basically every pick and roll defensively, and I think as a result, Denver's going to struggle. Not to mention the fact that we still have to wonder about the chemistry concerns early on with Jokic and Murray and Porter, because even though they have played in the past, they barely played last year. Murray didn't play at all last year, and it seemed like they were all a little bit rusty in terms of just organization offensively in the first game. Not to mention the fact that Murray actually got hurt in that game, as he hurt his knee, and he's questionable. I'm assuming he's not going to play, considering the fact that he just came back from a serious knee injury, and he got hurt in the first game of the season. I doubt Murray will suit up in this matchup, so you might see Ish Smith, for example, as the replacement starting point guard. Jokic got injured too. He's going to play in this game, but he did hurt his finger, so he's a little bit below 100%. But you're looking at the overall depth of both teams. We know Golden State right now, in my opinion, is the best team in the league. I don't think it's very close. I think they're going to win 60-plus games. But still, I have question marks about Denver's bench, some chemistry concerns, and I watched the entire game against Utah. They looked totally disjointed on both sides of the ball. They couldn't stop the three. They kept fouling. And I think Golden State will toy with this team similarly to the way they did in the playoffs as they beat Denver in 5 games last year. Plus, to go through some actual trends, the Nuggets are 2-5 ATS in the last 7 meetings. Golden State's owned this team, and I think it's going to take a real superhero effort from Jokic and maybe even Michael Porter, who looked mediocre in his first game back in a while. But Golden State has the star power offensively. They have the great depth. They have a great coach, and they're also at home. We know how good the home court advantage is there. I think Golden State wins this game by probably about 10. But Denver showed me nothing in game 1, and I'm not going to expect them to suddenly get better facing off against the best team in the league. So play that once again here for Friday, October 21st. Is going to be on the Warriors -5.5 and -110 on BetMGM.